Hello and welcome to another live video from Never a Truer Word. And you're going to learn a lot in this one. At least that's my hope. We're going to look at the mother of Rudy Farias, and she's released a statement, or she released a statement after Rudy was found. We will cover the story before we get into the statement that we're going to look at. And in that statement, does she let the truth slip out? That's what we're going to look at in this video from Never a Truer Word, where we look at the words that people choose to use. We are live. Hello, wherever you're watching this or anywhere around the world. One of the reasons that I like doing this live is because your comments, your questions, and your observations really add to these videos. So if you've got anything to say, stick them in the chat and we'll deal with them as they come up. Or if you're watching this on replay, hello to you as well. Leave a comment below, and I'll be sure to read all the comments that come onto this video. So, Rudy Farias, what do we know about him? Well, last week he was found reportedly after being missing for 8 years. Now, I don't know a lot about the background of these stories. I always say the less I know, then the less that informs some of my opinions, the less that bias can be in there. So I don't know loads about this story, but I believe he was a teenager 8 years ago in Houston. He went missing, has been missing as far as the authorities thought for the past 8 years, and was found in quite a bad way towards the end of last week. At that point, it becomes an amazing story. Boy who was missing for 8 years is found is an amazing story. And when reporters came down to interview people around, they went, he ain't been missing. He's been home with his mum for the past however long. So a really, really interesting story. When he was found, his mum, who is called Janie Santana, released this statement. This is what we are going to look at. The statement says, "Statement from the family of Rudy Farias IV. We want to thank the media and the public for all their support. My son Rudy Farias IV was found on Thursday, June 29th, after being missing for 8 years. Currently, we do not have any additional information on Rudy's case. What we do know is that at the time of his recovery, a Good Samaritan located him unresponsive and immediately called the police and 911. My son Rudy is receiving the care he needs to overcome his trauma, but at this time, he is nonverbal and not able to communicate with us. We are asking for privacy during this difficult time, but will share more details as Rudy continues to heal. Janie Santana." So what do you notice in that? Is there anything you noticed in the words she's chosen to use in that statement? Then stick them in the comments, please. Stick them in the live chat and we will deal with them. I'm going to look at this using one of the principles of truthful deception. And that is that the words that we use are the ones we think best fit the situation. Most of the time when we're sitting talking, it's a subconscious thing. Your brain picks the words that it thinks gets across what it is you want to say, or tells the truth, or describes things, or whatever it is. Your brain just automatically picks the best words. When you're really thinking about what it is you want to say, if there's a message you want to get across, or if there's deception that you're making, you're going to be hand picking the words so they have the effect that you want them to have. The trouble with both of those things is that the truth will slip out when we look at the choices of the words, which is why this statement, I think, is really, really revealing. As I always say, if I spot one or two signs of deception, those can be misspeaks, so that can be just the way the person speaks or just an odd way they've decided to phrase something. But if I spot 3, 4, a cluster of things, I'm going to have observations about that person. So let's dive in. As I say, just comment away, chat away. If you've got anything you want to ask or anything that you see in that statement, then go for it. Usually, I have carefully typed out notes. Today, I haven't had much time, so I've just scrawled what I have to say about this on a piece of paper in front of me. So let's go through what I have got in this statement. The first thing I see is we and my. Look at who this statement's from. Well, it says it's from the family of Rudy Farias. And then it starts with, we want to thank the media, which is how a family would address someone or something. They would address with we. But then it says, my son Rudy. So this is from one person, the mum, my son Rudy. And then it goes on, we do not have any additional information. What we do know And then again, my son, Rudy. We are asking for privacy. He's not able to communicate with us. And it's signed Janie Santana. So it's weird, weird pronouns there. It's a statement, starts saying it's a statement from the family, but it's one person has written this. It's obvious. A family would not use the word my there. So I don't know. Is she trying to create a feeling of grandeur? Or is she trying to say, is she worried she's going to get attacked personally? So this is coming from coming from the family. Is there strength in numbers that she wants to convey there? Because this is Janie just making her own statement. But she does want to dress it up as coming from that family instead. Next thing I got is the opening words. The first thing we say in a statement is the thing that's most important for us to say. When I talked about if we're speaking about things unconsciously, if our brain's just picking what to say kind of on autopilot, then it will be the most important thing to us, the thing the brain considers the most important. In this case, this is being hand-picked. And the first thing, the opening words are not about this most miraculous discovery that's happened to her, which is her son missing for 8 years. I mean, you must have been missing, presumed dead at that point, if this had really happened to you. But her son missing for 8 years has been found. That is, I would expect to be the highest priority there. Instead, her highest priority is thanking the media and the public for all their support. Why? Why is that the priority? Well, there's a few reasons why that could be. One is it's ingratiation. It's getting on your side. It's getting you on side. It's by being nice and thanking you. Thank you so much. Look, I'm a nice person. I'm beginning this by thanking you for your support. And I believe that's one of the reasons why this is the first thing she has to say, because she wants people on side, because she fears people being offside. So the most important thing for her to do is to thank the media and the public for their support. Potentially, we're also being manipulated a bit here by this thank you, because it's starting off with the premise that she has had great support. The media and the public have given them all their support. And she's using here something called social proof. The theory is that if everybody thinks something, if everybody is supporting them, then if I'm not, am I out of step with everyone else? Am I out of step with society? People generally don't like that. It's why you see adverts saying 8 out of 10 cats prefer a certain cat food. It's social proof. It's why films advertise them being the #1 blockbuster of the weekend, or books are bestsellers. It's social proof. It's saying if everyone feels this way, if you don't, you're a little bit outside the box. So is she manipulating us with that opening statement as well? Now, my son, things we repeat tend to be quite important to us. And twice she refers to Rudy as my son, Rudy Farias, and my son, Rudy. And I'd be interested in what you think. Why saying my son, Rudy twice? Why does she do that? Why does she not just refer to him as Rudy? I mean, I've got some thoughts. It's certainly it suggests ownership of the son. Also, I believe he's 25, I think is his age. So that it's maybe something we would expect someone to do with maybe someone a little bit younger. Maybe she still thinks that he's 8 years younger, I guess, because he's been missing for 8 years. She hasn't seen him grow and develop. But I'm interested in why she refers to him twice as my son, Rudy. I have a thought on that, but I'm not going to say that out loud, because it wouldn't be fair if that thought was wrong. But why does she refer to him twice at the beginning and sort of halfway down as my son, Rudy? Question for you there. Let's move on with this statement. My son, Rudy Farias IV, was found on Thursday, June 29th, after being missing for 8 years. Now, that's quite straightforward. And yes, he was found. And yes, he was posted missing for 8 years. So I get a load of truth in there. But the word missing is interesting for me, because there is something missing from this entire statement, which is any sense of joy, relief, elation, anything at all, that her son, who's been missing for 8 years, has been found alive. None whatsoever. No sense of any sort of relief there that her son, who's been missing for 8 years, has been found. Why is that? Why can she not express anything to suggest any kind of relief or joy or elation or satisfaction that, something has come to an end? None whatsoever in this statement. That is missing, and that is a big red flag for me. Then she talks about, we do not have any additional information on Rudy's case. And that's interesting. What does that mean? Additional information to what? Well, she does have additional information on Rudy, if you notice, because she does say the circumstances that he was found, the person who found him, what they did, where Rudy is, what Rudy is receiving, the care that he needs at this moment, additional trauma. So she has lots of additional information. The fact he's nonverbal, the fact he's not communicating, so and he's continuing to heal. So she knows lots of additional information about Rudy. So what does she mean by additional information? Well, I believe that is shown in the word case. Additional information on Rudy's case. Now, I get you and me might think of this as having been a missing persons case. You and me might now think this is a case that needs to be investigated by the police. But the mother of a missing person, are they going to refer to it as a case? It's quite a legal term, isn't it? And I think, yeah, she knows there's some investigation going on, or some investigation likely, that this is why she thinks of it as a case, why she refers to it as a case, is that she knows this is going to become a case that is investigated. Hence why a really unusual wording there. We don't have any information on Rudy's case. We don't have any information on what happened to Rudy. We don't have any information on where Rudy was. We don't have any information on why he suddenly turned up. We don't have any additional information on Rudy's case. And so, yeah, I think she's worried about the additional information coming out. And also, yeah, the fact she calls it a case. What's next? Well, we've got some words here in the next bit. What we do know is at the time of his recovery, a Good Samaritan located him unresponsive. Now, I noted down, these are not human words. These are words you'd use to describe a car that wasn't working. What we do know is at the time of my car's recovery, someone located it and it was unresponsive, or it wasn't working. These are not human words. And Helen, I think, has got a comment on this as well. She says, interesting use of the word recovery to explain when he was found. That's an odd word to us. Yeah, Helen, it is. Why I would expect at the time Rudy was found, or even located, and yeah, the Good Samaritan did locate him according to that word, but yeah, it is recovery, a really interesting word to use. And I think, and this is based on maybe knowing a bit more about the case, I think that recovery is because of there's an incident that's happened that led to Rudy being found, that she knows a little bit more about, and I think that's why she's using that odd word recovery. But recovery, located, unresponsive, these are process words that you'd use for a mechanical object or a thing, not words you'd expect to use around a human being. What's the next thing we got from Janie? The Good Samaritan. This is verging on one of the deceptive red flags. When someone starts invoking a God, honest to God, I swear to God, when someone starts saying God is on their side, or they are putting themselves beholden to God, then that's quite often some deception happening there. People feel that, hey, if I've got God on my side, or if I'm using God as a witness, then you have to believe me, because, well, no one would transgress the rules of religion by lying to a God or saying that, God will back me up, when that's not true. And that's not what she's doing here. But in calling him a Good Samaritan, again, I think a lot about this statement is getting the public on her side. That's why she starts off by thanking them for their support. And this is as well, I think she's saying, look, I'm calling someone a Good Samaritan. I'm calling up images of religion. I'm calling up images of all the good things from religion. The Good Samaritan, one of the best examples of a person in a religious fable that there is. So, yeah, I'm a bit interested as to why she calls this person a Good Samaritan. And also just thinking about it a little bit more, I mean, and I believe he was discovered in a bad way, and this person phoned the police and an ambulance to get some help. Now, while that may be a good Samaritan, it's also just normal, decent human behavior. But again, she seems to be wanting to get people on her side, and I think that's what the use of Good Samaritan is there. Talking of the Good Samaritan immediately called police and 911. Now, immediately, I hadn't noticed this before, but that's interesting. Obvious it was immediate. Why would there be any doubt that, if you find someone in a bad way, that they need an ambulance, they need the police? Why would you delay? So why is the word immediately being used there? And I do wonder if the fact that this happened so quickly, the fact that someone took action that she had no control over, or the fact that the police and ambulance got there before she could do anything, or whatever it is, I do wonder if that's why immediately is there. It's a source of tension. It's a source of annoyance to her that this Good Samaritan immediately called police and 911. And also that ordering is strange. The Good Samaritan called police and 911. Well, did she know the order? Well, number one, I thought that would be one phone call. I don't know the system in the area where this happened. I don't. But over here in the UK, if you found someone that looked like they needed the help of police and ambulance, you call one phone number and get both emergency services to respond. I don't know if it's the same in Houston when you call 911. Do you have to, call the police on a different number? I don't know how that works. If anyone is watching from Houston and can tell me why this person called the police and 911, do let me know. But the order is interesting there. She puts the police first. I doubt she knows the order that this person phoned the police in, or the order that these services were dispatched in, but police and 911, police comes first, and I think that's her biggest annoyance. I think she's annoyed it was immediate, and she puts the police first, so I think she was annoyed that the police were called and an ambulance. Nat, thank you very much, who agrees with me. Nat, the realist. I love a realist, Nat. It's usually the one call I thought, yeah, I thought so as well. So I think the fact she separated it out, I think the fact that she didn't say, that he called this Good Samaritan located him unresponsive and called 911, is interesting. And I think we're seeing the word case. I'm seeing some sensitivity around the fact this happened immediately. She was unable to intervene. And the fact the police got involved, I think there is some sensitivity around that as well. What else do I get from Janie? She says, at this time, he is nonverbal and not able to communicate with us. At this time is very interesting. That suggests that he is not always going to be nonverbal. He's only nonverbal at this time. However, he's been away. He's been missing for 8 years. How does she know that is only at this time? Maybe he's been missing for 8 years, nonverbal for 6, and is going to be nonverbal for the rest of his life. But she's saying at this time he is nonverbal and he's not able to communicate. So there's no way he could get this across in any way whatsoever, that this is only temporary nonverbal behavior. At this time, he is nonverbal and not able to communicate with us. At this time suggests that she knows it is temporary non-verbal situation. And I'm very interested in that. At this time gives away, I don't believe he is non-verbal at the moment. I think at this time she is buying time to come up with another story that she can tell people, which is why she's saying, he's non-verbal and not able to communicate with us. I mean, that's kind of convenient given some of the allegations that are going on around him, isn't it? I think there's something really strange in that he is non-verbal and not able to communicate with us. I think potentially you would start that off, or you would phrase that, if it was real, as at the moment he's not able to communicate with us. Yeah, I think that would be what I would expect in a statement like that. But certainly at this time, she thinks it's temporary, but if he's been missing for 8 years, how does she know it's temporary? Anything else? No, that's it for me. If you've got any conclusions, what do you think about what Janie has said in that statement? If you've got anything, then get involved in the chat like Nat has again. I don't believe a word this lady says, in my opinion. She is just worried about herself. Well, that's very much, what I'm going to say. My conclusion is that there are so many indicators that something is going on in that statement for me not to take it at face value and to want to find out a whole lot more about what's going on. I think it might be a while before we do, because as I see in this developing story, there's lots happening on it today. But what do I see? I see she's desperate to get the public on her side and to say what the public are already on my side. So I see that. I see some really curious wording. I also, by the way, let me just see if I can get this statement up again. I saw something else that worried me in that statement, which is that he is nonverbal and not able to communicate with us. You can see that there, if I can highlight it. No, I can't highlight it. Yes, I can. Yes, I have the power. There it is there. He is nonverbal and not able to communicate with us. That means that she's hasn't mentioned any communication to him at all. Yeah, she hasn't mentioned any communication to him. And that's quite interesting. It's all the fact that he can't communicate with them. So, yeah, interested in that. Also, as well, by the way, we're asking for privacy during this difficult time. It's very much, again, sort of fending things off into the long grass, I think, as well. Like, don't ask us any questions. I've said some stuff. I've said that everyone's on my side. But yeah, there's so much deceptive wording in there. I think I don't think she thinks this person is a good Samaritan at all. I think she's really hacked off this person, immediately called the police. And I don't believe that he is non-verbal and non-communicative at that time. So I'm taking this statement with a huge pinch of salt. And it's good to see that you agree in the chat. If you've got anything else to say when you're watching the replay, then do leave comments in the comments. If you want some more, you can go to connect.neveratruerword.com, where you'll find some blog posts. You'll find more videos as well. You'll also find out how to connect with me on social media, including Threads, which launched today, which may date this video if you watch it in a few months' time. But currently, I have 3 followers on Threads. So if we can double that by the time we make the next video, then we'll be on a winner. That's connect.neveratruerword.com. If you want to read more and learn more about how to detect deception in people's words, then posts.neveratruerword.com is a good place to go. And videos.neveratruerword if you want to see more videos and statements that people have made like this. And we'll see you again soon for another video from Never a Truer Word.